Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Coming at you with another live segment of the Sauce Podcast with AJ Reygadas. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Do me a favor, all of you that are watching right now, please hit the share button. Let's get this segment out because this is going to be a hot one for y'all. I should almost change the name from the sauce to the hot sauce because this is going to be a great segment, and I hope y'all are ready to just hear everything that we're going to share with you. But coming at you live from the Line Studios, real quick, want to share with y'all, my boy Chris Cano has a segment going down tomorrow at 7:30 as well at the Line Studios with Jack Hawthorne from KW Heritage. I'm looking forward. Look at that.
I know those glasses.
That looks dope. I got to get me one of those shirts. But yeah, that I'm looking forward to watching that segment myself because those are some two powerful guys that are going to share some great stuff. So yeah, make sure that y'all tune in tomorrow as well at 7:30 from the Line Studios. But without further ado, I want to introduce my boy. I told him already, I consider him an OG in this industry. You know, he is an amazing top producer. I'll say this, that if they had, and I wonder if maybe they do have, and I just don't know about it, if they had a Hall of Fame for the local real estate industry, this guy would definitely be a first ballot. I'll tell you that right now. He's just very well established in the industry. So let me introduce Robert Elder. He is the other half of the Ropax Realty Group, which is comprised of team leader Stephanie Paxton. He has been in the real estate business for over 31 years and counting. Together, they have built up the Ropax group to a current annualized production of over 65 million in volume per year, consistently closing over 125 transactions yearly. That's amazing. That's amazing.
We're busy.
Welcome, bro.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, man.
Thank you for joining me, bro.
Absolutely.
Like,
it's my pleasure.
When I asked you, I was like, hey, bro, can I get you to come on the podcast? I did not expect you to say yes. I was just like, let me see. It's worth a shot. You know, we're
it's
cool.
like when E.F. Hutton speaks, you listen. Your AJ Reygadas calls, you act.
No, but I appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much. And the reason why I wanted to do this segment is because obviously, my past few segments haven't necessarily been specifically about real estate, but obviously going into what we're experiencing right now, what we're going to be projecting or what we're going to be experiencing over the next few quarters, possibly going into next year as well, is this shift that everyone's talking about.
Right.
And I felt like there was no better person that I could ask and pick their brain other than you because, man, like you said, man, you've been in this business for over 31 years, bro.
I'm a dinosaur.
It's OG, bro. You're an OG.
All right, fine. That sounds cool. I'll be hip.
but yeah, man. And so you've seen multiple different, and I don't want to just jump the gun and call this a recession, but you've seen multiple shifts, right, throughout our
I've actually, I've been blessed that I've seen the good, the very, very good, and I've seen the very, very bad and everything in between.
Yeah.
So, but I'm still here.
Yeah.
So,
amen.
I'm so glad that you asked me to come speak about this because I'm actually quite passionate about this.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that people know really the real. Let's just call it the real, of what's going on and what can happen as well in this industry because it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. And it's funny is my podcast has nothing to do with the brokerage, right? I try my best to make sure that I separate the two. But yesterday I was talking in the training that we were having at the office and I was telling a lot of the new agents were there and I was telling them, look guys, I'm not the type to tell y'all, hey, y'all need to watch my podcast, but I would highly encourage y'all to watch tomorrow's episode because I have an OG coming in that is one of the biggest agents in the industry and he's going to have a lot to say. And I wanted them to hear this mainly because I guarantee, I know I would be that agent sitting in and listening to AJ Reygadas talk and think like, yeah, this dude's just, he's just blowing smoke.
Right.
And I've been warning them and prepping them like, hey, no, we're about to experience something that y'all have no idea what we're walking into.
100%.
And so that's why I was like, let me get him on here.
Well, hopefully they're listening. Hopefully a lot of people are listening because I do want to spread some knowledge. So.
Exactly. So let me ask you this. We'll start off right away. Are we really walking into a shift?
100%.
Yeah.
We are absolutely in a shift. Yeah. So there's some different things with markets. You're either in a buyer's market, you're in a seller's market, or you're in a neutral market. Yeah. And so what did we just come out of? We came out of like the most ridiculous seller's market that we've ever seen. And honestly, probably that I'll ever see in my career. Yeah. My career is, I'm not going to be doing this for another 30 years. But we've come out of a really, really crazy seller's market. I feel we're going into more of a neutral market.
Yeah.
can't see the type of appreciation. It's just not sustainable.
Yeah, it's not.
That we've been seeing. It was nuts. I mean, from actually, and these are true numbers, from January 1 of this year to it was basically 6 weeks ago, San Antonio saw a 9.2% increase in pricing. So I'm very curious to see from that. I have it written down on my phone, like when I'm going to check it, another 3 or so months from now to see where that went off. And I guarantee it's not going to go up another 9.5%. It's probably going to be maybe 2-3% at the most. That's my opinion. We'll see.
I can see that, man, especially because it's funny, before the whole COVID thing and all this started really kicking off, I thought that 2017 was the year.
Yeah.
Because that was a big year. I remember I was selling a ton of properties that were well above the asking price.
Right.
And I was just like, man, this is a year I've never experienced.
Right.
And it just seems like every year since then,
exactly.
It was like, this is a year I've never experienced. This is a year I've never experienced. And so, yeah, man, I mean,
it was interesting. So when COVID hit, we had just come off like a really great quarter.
Yeah.
Stephanie and I were good, plenty of money in the bank and everything. And we're like, well, okay, well, I guess we're going to have some time off.
Yeah. Hunker down.
And no, I mean, I think it was like a quiet week and a half, and then boom, off to the races.
Yep.
And it was just like nonstop. I mean, we try and take our little vacations. No, I mean, in the last 2 years, I think we've taken 2.
Yeah.
And we've not really relaxed because it's just been this frenetic pace.
See, this is what I admire about you, though, because before we went live, you and I were chatting, and something that I took from you, what you were saying was that, you were talking about actually, let's talk about that. Your morning routine.
My morning routine.
Talking about your morning routine.
Yeah.
And what I took from it is, y'all both have the same mentality.
Yeah.
Where it's like we get up, we pray, we do our routine, but y'all are both hustler mentality.
Yeah, I'm super blessed that Stephanie has this very growth mindset. Yeah. I mean, she's always wanting to better herself. More so than I ever was. So it's actually been infectious, and it's taken me to a new level. But yeah, we have our routine, we'll tell each other good morning, let the dogs out and everything else. And then it's kind of quiet for like 45 minutes. Yeah. She's on one sofa, I'm on another, and she's doing her reading. And we're not reading like, Nancy Drew books or anything, we're reading books about how to better ourselves, and she's a voracious reader. She'll probably do 35, 40 books a year.
Wow.
I'm somewhere in the probably 30-ish, range a year. And we're taking notes, we're doing gratitude journaling. I'm working on some of my AA stuff as well.
Nice, bro.
And so it's 45 minutes of work. And it is work. That's just it. It's like you have to start your day off that way.
You're activating your brain, and you're 100%, kicking it in the morning. It's almost like you're feeding it its caffeine that it needs in the morning.
It's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
It's like going to the gym for your brain.
Yeah.
And especially right now with all the crap that's going on, it's like you really have to protect what's going on here that goes into here. And so that helps, kind of set the tone for the day.
Yeah. So, another thing that I wanted to kind of touch on with you that I know you're noticing it too, man, is there's a lot of opinions in this industry right now.
Yeah.
And without sounding like a jerk, man, it's really, I get a little, I'll say this, I'll admit, I get a little frustrated when I see opinions being shared from agents that haven't been through it before.
Right. Just yesterday on my social media, I posted, it was a TikToker, like 22 years old, talking about the 07, 08 market. I was like, bro, you were like 6 years old or something like that. I mean, what do you know? And it's funny. So I made a comment on my Facebook, and there were a couple of people that said, well, yeah, but look at a history teacher, or, all they need to do is go back and look at it. I'm like, no, they didn't live through it. It's not the end of the freaking world. Okay.
Yeah.
There's opportunity in every market. It's what you think of that market,
That's true.
I'm not going to say it was bad then, but the funny thing was I doubled my business then.
Yep.
I didn't look at like the negativity of it. I looked at all the opportunity, and trust me, right now I'm looking at the opportunity that's right around the corner.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%, man. Like, people have been asking, like, are you nervous about what's about to happen? And I'm just like, not really. Not really, because, I mean, yes, is there going to be a fallout? Of course.
Yes,
there is.
100% there is.
And that's the one thing that I've been trying to, like, be cautious about in our meetings when we do our weekly meetings is I'm not trying to use it as a scare tactic.
Right.
I'm trying to just make sure everybody understands it's not going to be easy.
Right.
In my opinion, all that we need to do now is just actually work.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So the past few years, it seems like deals have just been falling on our laps, and that's why I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not just concerned about the new agents in the past year that have gone into business. I'm concerned about the agents that have gone into business in the past 5-6 years. because that's all they've seen
That's all
is
they've
just deals
seen.
falling on their
Exactly.
lap. So
It's funny. It was my son.
Yeah.
So he bought his first house last year. Yeah, Austin.
Okay.
He bought his first house, and there was one house. I will literally never forget this coming out of his mouth. Dad, it's been on the market 2 weeks. What's wrong with it? And I mean, God bless the kid.
Yeah.
I laughed. I was like, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I checked the seller's disclosure. It's a little overpriced. It's good. But it's like, that's what it came down to. It's like, oh my God, the house has been on the market 2 days. What's wrong? It's a POS. Nobody wants it. It's like, wait, did we forget it?
Did someone die in there?
It used to take 6 months sometimes to sell a house. It's like, did we forget about that?
That's so true,
You're right.
man.
That's all they know.
That's all
so
they
it's
know.
like, I hate this misinformation that's going out there right now. So it's like, is there going to be a fallout? 100%. Yeah. I at least want to talk about experiences.
Yeah.
If an agent doesn't make it, okay, well, I mean, not everyone makes it in every industry. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
But at least I want there to be real information out there that they can take to the bank and say, okay, it's not that bad.
Exactly. No, I agree, man. And that's why I've been saying, like, look, it's going to come down to the hustlers.
Yeah.
Those top producers, they're going to be fine. They're looking forward to it, because
I'm looking forward to the cleansing. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it just means you're going to double your business,
Right.
Because there's sustainable business and then there's business where it's like we're just relying on social media posts.
Yeah.
And that's true, man. Like, part of the class that I teach, I should say slide of the class that I teach is about social media. And it seems like that's always the comfort or most comfortable thing that a lot of new agents go to right away.
Yes.
Okay, I'll do social media.
Right.
And then I'm just like, well, no, don't just do social media. Like, don't just post house of the day. Don't just post about your closing.
Right.
Like, don't just post a tour. Like,
There's
you need
so
to
much
prospect.
more.
You need to call. You need
Exactly.
to create your database. You need to call on your database. And so those are the agents that I'm concerned about because that's all they've been doing is social media where they think that's all they need.
Right.
And
you have to, the analogy that I've always used is like when you're fishing, you have all of this bait, you're chumming the water and you've got this lure over here and you got a different lure over here and you got a different one because, hey, these 2 might hit and those 4 might not hit all week. So if all you're doing is social media posting, okay, you've got 1 lure in the water.
True.
That's it. What if all the fish are biting on something else?
That's true. 100%, man. 100%. So let me ask you this. What's different this time from the last, I should say, market correction? That you feel could be better or worse?
So I don't know if you know the statistic or not. So currently it's either 46 or 47% of all homes are owned outright in the United States.
Interesting. No, I didn't know that.
That wasn't like that before. So there's a huge amount of wealth. I am not going to say that there's not going to be, foreclosures.
Sure.
Of course, there were people that were not able to pay their mortgages and everything else. But the mere fact that most of those people had a massive amount of equity, they are able to get out of it.
Yeah.
If God forbid they don't have a job or anything else, they still have that money. They could still sell their house. They could still get their hands on some cash and move forward with their lives and rebuild and everything else like many of us have had to do. That wasn't the case back then.
Yeah.
There was so much. I remember during that time, we had bought our big house. It was like this 900,000.
Before 2008?
But no, it was right before 2008.
Okay, gotcha.
That's when they were doing stated income loans.
Yep.
I had the money. I just sold the company, so I was flush with cash, but I literally remember how much do you have in the bank? I got this much. How much do you make? I make this much. That was it.
Bro,
they didn't check anything.
I still get blown away by the idea that actually existed. I got in 2010.
Yeah.
And that wasn't so much a thing anymore because the recession already started and it happened. And so, but to hear that, stated income, just what do you make? Okay, cool. Here you go.
Here you go.
And it's like, wow, man. Like,
so
that's crazy.
It's such a fallacy when they're trying to compare the housing market then and now.
Yeah.
Did we just come off of a crazy market? Yes, of course. I will 100% agree with that. There's so many factors that happened. But when you just look at the housing values and everything else, then loan practices, it's not the same.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, you have to give a kidney to get a loan these days. It's like, they go through it with a fine tooth comb.
Wow.
So,
It's crazy,
Stephanie's bought like 3 houses in the last, 2 years. And every time she gets a loan, trust me, it's not very fun around the house for a short period of time.
Yeah, it's so funny. Even as realtors, when you buy the houses, man, like you go through that experience
pain
where you're frustrated, just like sometimes you've had those
another
buyers frustrated.
document.
I remember yelling at my LO when I was like, what do you mean you need that? I already sent that to you. And I'm like, AJ, chill out. You're being your buyer right now.
Exactly.
Like, yep. So I get it, man. I get it. Speaking of those newer agents, what's something you know now that you wish you knew then?
Something there's hope. No, actually, whatever the market is, it's not going to be that bad. This is something that I tend to tell new agents so they can just kind of wrap their heads around this. There's always a reason to buy or sell a home.
Yep.
Someone gets married, someone gets divorced, someone's kid move out and they need to downsize. Someone has more kiddos, they need more space. Someone gets a job out of town, someone gets a job in town.
Yeah.
Someone unfortunately might pass away. I mean, there's a myriad of reasons for people to buy and sell a home.
Yeah.
It's not based on rate.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they're just like, oh gosh, rates are 6%. That's it. I'm not going to do anything. When you look at the worst housing market that we've ever had compared to, well, let's just call 21 the best, okay? There were roughly 4.5 million homes sold in the worst housing market, and in the best, it was 6.5 million roughly nationwide.
Wow.
So when this shift is happening where everyone is painting this doom and gloom, oh my God, everything's just going to stop. No, bullshit. It's not going to. Maybe we'll go down to 5.5, 5.8 million. That means life goes on.
Yeah.
That means there's still sales to be had.
Yeah.
You're just going to work. You already said
That's
it.
True, man.
Agents are going to work harder.
It's true.
That's where I fear that a lot of agents are not going to want to do the work because they're so used to like this, everything just coming to me.
It's funny you say that because I'll refer back to Shift Talk, man. So on Shift Talk, oftentimes you'll see agents posting on there. I'm looking for a brokerage that will provide leads and give me training, and I don't want to pay a shitty split. I want I want a flat fee. And I'm like, people will tag me and I don't even respond, bro. I'm just like,
next,
we're not the brokerage.
Untag.
I'll tell them straight up, we're not the brokerage for you. Like, go talk to, I've even thrown other name of brokerages out there because I'm like, I don't want that mentality.
No, the reality is that you're going to have to prospect. So, Stephanie, when the market was normal, I'll call it normal. Like, she was an animal with working the phones. I mean, 7:30, boom, she was on the phones. She was making her calls for several hours. I mean, prospecting like I've never ever seen. I don't prospect like that. My prospecting is very different. I'm very relational and marketing based, and very few agents ever do that. Yeah, it's funny. There's an LO. Goodness gracious, his name slips my mind right now. Tom Romanello.
Oh,
and, super nice guy. And she was circle prospecting in a neighborhood, and he got a phone call from her, and he's like, I've never in my life gotten a phone call. I commend you for doing that. And like, her spit is sick.
Yeah.
I would hate to go up against her.
I could imagine. I remember you telling me one time that she actually loves getting chewed. Like, it's not that she loves it, but she doesn't buckle down like a typical agent would when she's getting chewed out on a phone call.
Oh man,
she looks forward to them.
I don't know if she looks forward to it, but she's gotten used to it when that has happened.
Yeah.
Because people can be mean. Yeah. There are some mean people out there, and why they say those things, I have no earthly idea. Yeah. Now it's just like, whatever, make more than you, whatever. Next. So it works out. She's gotten super good at it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about y'all's routine, your daily routine. Okay, so we heard a little bit about y'all's morning. What's that next step?
Yeah, for me, she does her workout as well. She works out sometimes from home, sometimes at the gym. Mm-hmm. For me, I have to go to the gym. I work out with two buddies. They keep me super accountable.
Yeah.
I've had a personal fitness journey, and I'm definitely not 100% because of my diet, but I've had a personal fitness journey for about 2.5 years.
Bro.
I've
seen those deadlifts and those squats. I've seen it, bro.
I'm not to your level, but I'd really let myself go.
Yeah.
And when I was living in Houston, I was doing 15 to sometimes 20 half marathons a year. I was doing all of these obstacle races and everything else.
Yeah.
I was like a freaking 31 waist, blah, blah, blah. And I came down to San Antonio. Life happened. Some business things happened.
Love happens.
And I let myself go. And she's super diligent, as we all know. Stephanie's like super fit, watches what she eats and everything else. And here I'm having ice cream and chips. And, so I needed to make a change because I operate at a very high level in business.
Yeah.
But my body was not following suit, if that makes sense. So
I get it.
I have to go to the gym. That just kind of, gives me the energy for the rest of the day. And then after that, man, it's in the paint. It's off to the races.
I love what you're talking about right now too, because you're showing us an example example of talking about finding that balance, right? Whether it's your personal life, you've talked about your sobriety. You've been, if you don't mind me sharing, you've been sober for over 5.5 years.
Yeah.
Bro, that's amazing, man.
I love to be, at first, the first year, I wasn't too open about it. I thought, honestly, it would kind of bite me in the ass if I, like, oh gosh, I'm going to lose all my business, or people are going to judge me or something like that. But you know, after the first year, God really had it on my heart to just be open. I mean, I've got a platform. We've got a lot of people that follow us on social media. And I do remember the first day that I posted that, I was just like, okay, I'm going to do that post, you know, on Facebook. And I didn't get the backlash. I mean, I got a lot of support.
I was going to say, you probably got a lot of DMs from people like support, right?
I did. It was actually, it was humbling to see the amount of support that has come out. But what's more humbling is the fact that, like, I will be walking somewhere or an HEB or something like that, and I'll be approached by a random person that, you know, is on my Facebook. We don't really know each other, and they're like, hey, I'm 6 months sober because of one of your posts, or I'm a year sober.
Man.
And I'm just
that's
like,
what it's about right there, man.
I mean, that's the beauty. It's like, I love to give that away. My sobriety, I've got to give it away to keep it. So.
Yeah, that's nice. So real quick, so we can pay some bills. Make sure that y'all like, follow, comment, share. Get on my YouTube channel, guys, the Sauce Podcast with the AJ Reygadas. And please subscribe. I'm trying to build up that following too. Just like he said, he's got a big following. I'm trying to build up my following like him, okay? So make sure y'all do that for me, please, so we can keep the lights on. I know I mentioned last week we had C4. Now we got Bang back in the building. I'm joking, y'all. I'm joking. People,
got Yeti.
I had a coffee meeting with some LOs yesterday, and they were like, do you really have Bang sponsoring? I was like, no, I'm joking with y'all.
I even heard that too. I was like, dang, this guy's big time.
I'm joking with y'all, guys. Just so y'all know, because I don't want to get sued. I'm joking. This is just what I drank in the morning.
They would probably support that.
Yeah, they probably would. They probably wouldn't sue. They're like, yeah, we'll let them say that. But yeah, so please, guys, make sure y'all subscribe. Let me get back into this though, man. I want to ask you, so what's the best advice you can give to a new agent?
So I think what I know to happen right now is agents are going to have to learn a lot. This is where they're going to have to really learn some new skills, better the skills that they have, you know, in their arsenal right now. The game is definitely going to change, and for those that don't know how to play it at a high level, they're going to suffer big time. So right now, it's going to be about skill set. Before we were talking, or before we went live, I mentioned to you that just this week alone, 3 listings have come our way because they hired another agent who didn't know how to deal with this shifting market.
Set the right expectations.
So I know, and I'd already talked to the team last week before these even presented themselves. I'm like, guys, get ready. This is what's going to happen. I already know what's going to happen. You know, so it doesn't scare me. Does it mean that I'm not sharpening my sword? No, absolutely. We are. I mean, we're learning. You know, Stephanie has a Tom Ferry coach. I mean, we're spending serious money, and we're doubling down on marketing. So whereas many people might pull back during this time, we're going all in because we're gonna get our share. So.
No, and that's true, man. The thing that I you know, it's inevitable, but what I'm willing to bet, and I feel like I'm already starting to see this, is there's a lot of agents that are going to be bouncing around over the next, I would say, even quarter. It
goes back to what you just said moments ago, what they're looking for. They always want, you know, that next brokerage, the shiny brokerage. They're going to give me. No, go freaking do the work. You have to work. I mean, it just...
one of my agents I was chatting with on Monday, and he was like, bro, look at so-and-so. Like, this is the 4th brokerage she's been at in a year.
Wow.
You know, and I'm just like, 4 brokerages in 12 months.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, it's not the brokerage.
No,
it's
not.
You know, so
it's not.
It's almost like they're looking for someone to save them. And that's something that I'm being very cautious with too, with when we do our interviews.
Right.
I need to make sure that I'm not interviewing an agent that's in desperate mode. That's coming from a different brokerage and is in desperate mode, like almost like, I got 2 months to make this happen. Can you help me? No, I don't want that. Like, I don't want that.
Well, it will, that mindset and that anxiety could permeate into the rest of your team. And then, you know, that's a poison at that point.
So I'll say this. My advice to a lot of those newer agents is don't just bounce. You know, I would say hunker down where you're at. Stick to your guns, but just focus more on prospecting. I think that's where it's at. If you're prospecting and you're actually prospecting and making it a habit daily, even just start with 1 hour of prospecting. 1 hour, get it over with in the morning. Start at 7:30, like Stephanie does. Start at 8 a.m. for 1 hour. Just focus on just prospecting Monday through Friday. You'll be okay.
Yeah,
I'm confident.
They can make a game out of it. I mean, it's so much is your mindset on how you look at things. So, I mean, if you hate to prospect, if it's phone calls or door knocking or open houses or whatever it is, figure out how to make a game out of it.
Yeah,
make it fun.
Speaking of which, man, you want to talk about your open house you got going on today? Man,
the big one.
House is beautiful. For all my San Antonio viewers, listen to this. It's a beautiful home.
We have it's 101 Hibiscus. It's a big broker only event this evening, 5 o'clock to 7 p.m. And our developer, we adore her. She has such an amazing eye. We really enjoy selling her product, and this is kind of her crown jewel, if you will. Ooh. When we started selling her houses, she was like, guys, telling Stephanie and I want to get up to that million mark. I want to get up to that million mark. So the last one that we sold was I think it was 800 and something. And then she went from 800 something to 2.2 million. I'm like, what happened to the middle?
She's going for broke, man.
Exactly. She swung for the fences. And everyone that has popped in there during this construction phase, their jaw is on the floor.
Yeah.
So we're going to have Supercars of San Antonio there with some exotics. I'll bring my toy out. I've got my watch dealer. He's going to be there with some really nice timepieces. We have a friend of mine's wife, Lisette, that she's going to have a lot of her women's, she has a resale online boutique with really high-end stuff like Hermes and, Gucci, Louis, things like that. So, we're making it a luxury event. A friend of mine, Anthony Chen, he's a friend and a client. He is actually going to have his 4-string quartet there. Yeah. So we're going to have it's going to be a vibe.
Yeah, so, for sure.
Yeah.
Shit,
it's pretty cool.
Who knows who up in this event. So let me ask you now, because obviously you are a luxury agent. I look at you and I'm like, yeah, they do.
It's funny.
Luxury.
I don't brand myself.
I know,
like that.
but y'all are, bro.
I mean,
y'all do luxury, and so I'm curious to know. I've had a bunch of agents over the past 2 years, brand new agents that are like, I want to get into luxury. What do you got to say to that?
I mean, you need to walk before you're going to run, and I'll say this.